It's Tuesday night, and have I got a deal for you? If you guys will promise not to watch any other podcasts and watch 5 episodes of this in a row, you too, you could be verified Proper Royals viewers. Let's get to it. That's the wrong intro. Man, I get off that little grenade and I hit the wrong button. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. Thank you for being here. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 7 o'clock here in just balmy Minnesota. I hit 54 today, did some shipping, sprayed out the car wash, felt a little sun on my bald spot that I haven't felt in like 4 months. It felt good, you know? I hope that you're doing well. I'm having a good time tonight. We got Matt Burton from K&B Reptiles here. And I was joking with Matt that, you know, he drew the short straw when, you know, some big event in our industry comes out or some announcement is made. If I don't address it or talk about it or incorporate it into the content, then I look like I'm like ducking it or don't have a backbone or whatever people want to call me. And if I do address it, then the guest on the show is stuck with dealing with it. So I'll give you my thoughts on the check mark here in a moment. And then, so that I'm never accused of being unfair, Matt does have a green check mark. We'll hear what his thoughts are on it. How about that? Well, we can talk this through like normal human beings might discuss things in life. Not everything has to be this tribal thing, right? We'll see what's up about that. I'll give you my thoughts in a little bit on that. Not too much in the way of announcements this week, other than Sunday, I will be out vending at the Hastings, Minnesota Armory with Snake Discovery. It's their show. I'm not vending with them, but it's the Snake Discovery show. I will be vending at that. So any local viewers, come on out, even regional. It's a pretty good show. It's got kind of a neat feel in that it's a fairly small show, but then you look around the room and like Kyle's Reptiles there, JSA is there. Sometimes Dave Kaufman's vending, MBK Pythons will be there. Soda Balls are vending. I'm vending. It's kind of a neat little show, and it's very accessible. And it's honestly, it's pretty busy because of the Snake Discovery tie-in. So I will be out there. And then, of course, 2 weeks later is Tinley. So looking forward to that. I take for granted. It's funny how like quick something becomes like normal or whatever. At Tinley, it's a big room and it can be challenging to find people. And this is a great example of like in life, you just play the hand that you're dealt. My table is all the way back, all the way to the left. It's literally the farthest back corner you could possibly go in the room. Go all the way to the back, go all the way left. You're going to run into me. Okay. But we get in a cool little hood back there. Cold Blooded Cafe is right across the aisle. By the way, if you haven't used the promo code Proper11 in the last week or two, and you want some frozen rodents, give it a shot there at Cold Blooded Cafe. Desiree and the team reset that promo code not too long ago. And so if you want to get a little discount on some frozen rodents, Proper11 is the promo code for it. Get yourself 11% off. Josh Jackie is back there. Ball Python Shed. He's back in that little neighborhood of the back corner. Then I think it's only 2 tables down from me is Will and Audra from Flawless Crested Geckos and Flawless Ball Pythons. So they will be there as well. And then just up the aisle from me is Jeremy Bod and Jeannie Bod at Bod's Exotic Reptiles. So come on back, all the way left. If you're going to Tinley, come check it out. I hope the audience is doing well tonight. It is always good to see you guys. I know that the word community comes up a lot, and it's like it's like the 2025 version of positivity, community. I'm really happy to have you guys. And it means a lot to me. I was thinking that about the Patreon group chat the other day, but doing these shows with this community, it kind of keeps me sane. And there's really good people that I get to hang out with and hopefully bring you guys some useful content. I don't know. I don't know that I'm that much of an entertainer in this context anyway, but man, I learn a hell of a lot, both from you guys in the audience and from the guests. And I think tonight's no exception. Matt Burton's on the show from K&B. He's done very, very well. We'll talk about considering going full-time, standing out in 2025. And I can't believe it. Like, time flies. It's been 2 years since he's been on the show. So we're going to catch up on what's been going on the past 2 years, but specifically kind of the change in how recessives are seen. I'm interested to hear what he's, seen and experienced with doubles and triples, or projects that he's working on, things that worked out, things that didn't work out. So there you go. Yesterday we got I guess it's a big announcement. It seemed like an odd splash. I don't know. It kind of came out of nowhere and then made this massive groundswell. A couple things for the record. I'm not going to lose friends over this stuff. It's my thoughts, my opinions. You're welcome to your thoughts and your opinions. Let's stop losing friends over disagreements that really aren't that big in the grand scheme of things for most of us. For some people, this is a really big deal. But like most things in life, most of it's not that big of a deal. And man, we go bonkers on it. Secondly, Matt's been kind enough to sort of play ball on this. I'll let Matt share his thoughts without interruption and maybe without even follow up. I'm taking the home team coin flip, taking the ball first, because I'll wander if I don't think about it clearly. So a couple thoughts to share. Like I say, what choice am I left with? Either I ignore the whole checkmark movement and pretend like it didn't happen, which isn't real, or I could just tell you what my thoughts are, and then you guys have fodder. We can chat about it or not chat about it. You can love me. Hopefully you don't hate me, but hopefully you do respect me. One thing I find interesting is that the checkmark is presented as a elevated level of security, of reassurance, sort of a value add to a tier of membership or to a caliber of seller. And that's what it's pitched as. But ironically, every person I've talked to or that I've come in contact with, the first thing they bring up is shipping. Oh, Adam and Redline. Well, if it's a value add about a heightened tier or a better level of service, why is it that shipping is the only thing? So I'll address that in a minute. But in all transparency, I think everybody knows. But if you don't know, I work proudly with Redline Shipping. I have for over 3 years, and that is who I ship with. And there you go. I think I have the capability to speak independently and clearly and open-mindedly. But yeah, that's there. So if there's bias, there you go. It's part of the package with me. Fun fact you might not realize that does play into this, and a couple things. I'll pull back the curtain with Redline. Redline and I have no contract. Nowhere is there a written agreement of what our agreement is. We're both in this relationship because we want to, which is beautiful. And honestly, that actually goes for, I think, all of my business partnerships, at least related to this show. So I really like that, and that's important to me. But it also means I'm independent and I can have my own thought. And where I was going to say an interesting fact, I generally vote one way. You might guess, you might not. I don't care to talk about that. But I am a registered independent, and that's very, very important to me to make my own thoughts and my own conclusions. So with that, here's my thoughts. I've been paying MorphMarket for 4 or 5 years now. I have 40 perfect 5-star reviews. I have 400 followers on MorphMarket. I've worked really hard to build that. Meanwhile, and I've helped MorphMarket build their brand by being a responsible seller. Now, if I don't get in on this checkmark thing, I'm a second tier, citizen. That kind of bugs me as a customer. Like, I don't really like that idea. So that's my first point. My second point is, look, to me, this is not that. It comes across insincere to call it a value add or to rate people at a higher level. Clearly what I've worked hard for and accomplished with, again, perfect ratings. Those were there, followers, loved, badges, all of that good stuff. It's a power grab. It's a shipping power grab. Like, the second component is that you have to agree to never ship with anybody else. And I get that. And actually, hear me out. I get that MorphMarket can't offer the assurance or the $500 assurance if you ship with somebody else. I get that. I'm no offense taken there. But did you see the list of disclaimers where they won't? Why not put it in that list? Why not say, hey, transaction by transaction, we can't back this up if you choose to ship with somebody else? That would make more sense versus coming right out and basically saying, you got to pledge an oath of allegiance to ship with us, or you're not going to get your green thing. It could easily have been done as a one-off component of like, so that I could still be recognized for my performance and my value and my brand value and my trustworthiness. But it wouldn't be covered, and that could be the part of the disclaimer, is not covered unless you use their shipping. But that takes away that freedom for that. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to engage the camera, so I can't even see the comments, but I will catch them. I think strongly this moment right now, and actually I would even make a friendly like beverage at the next conference wager on this. I would bet, I'm going to say 60 days, but ish. This is the start of the end of the beta test. So everything with the shipping discounts has been tied to the beta period. 72% is what everybody gets off during the beta period. And actually only 65% is the beta period commitment. 72 is like an added little bonus above that. So here's what I think happens. The people that are already the pro subscribers, and it makes sense for you to be the pro subscriber, it's probably not going to affect you. And maybe this is a good fit. I have no idea. But the people that aren't the pro subscribers and they want their check mark, this is going to go on for a little bit. Everybody's going to get their check mark. And then the beta period is going to end and the prices change. And that's when the increase comes, is my opinion. This is my scenario that I see playing out in my mind. And then you're forced to choose between paying that $850 pro membership tier, which may or may not make financial sense, and losing your green checkmark status. I forget what it's called, verified seller or something like that. I think it's the end of the beta period. Again, if you're already a pro member and it makes sense to be a pro member, it might not affect you. But if you're maybe more typical average MorphMarket user that's not the pro member, they've only committed to those deep discount prices, and they've only committed to the 65%, not the 72% for the pro members. Suddenly you're back in the competitive pricing with everybody else, because that's what it takes to stay in business. But you're going to have to pay more for maybe a service that you don't need to get that best pricing. That's my speculation, completely speculative. Okay. That's what I think it is. And then my last question is a little bit more philosophical, and maybe it's alarmist, and maybe this is where my heaviest bias comes in. I'll admit it. What happens if all of this consolidation works? What happens if there's not competition? What happens if there's not an alternative? What happens if this wins? I'll leave it there. I'm not going to speculate anymore. But the interesting conundrum of capitalism is that we all want to be the very best, but we have to have competition to do that, and for the customers to get the best experience. And if there's not competition, I have grave concerns for our industry. I've seen what happened very specifically in the mom and pop music store industry. My father owned a guitar store in the 90s. those are almost non-existent anymore, even in a art-driven community like Minneapolis is. It's big box stores, it's online sellers, and we see that through neighborhood hardware stores, shoe store, blah blah blah. It's a story repeated a million times. I have a little bit of fears of that. So there you go. Am I taking the check mark too far? Probably. The other thought that I have, which is I'm wrapping this rant up, I promise. It was the blue check mark was this massive deal on Instagram, and not having one hasn't hurt me there. I won't have one. If nothing else, I think I would say this, even if I wasn't aligned with Redline, I think I would still say I wouldn't be in that program. Committing to abandoning my own freedom of choice, not too cool with me. So I wouldn't be in on it anyhow, I don't think. But there you go. There's my 2 cents. I'll look forward to your thoughts. I'll read the comments shortly. So thanks for bearing with me. Matt Burton is on tonight. Matt has been on the show before. I couldn't believe it. It's been 2 years. I was reviewing the notes from the last show. He started maybe right around the time that I did, or just before, and has just skyrocketed. Fantastic production, gone leaps and bounds beyond my breeding results. And it'll be fun to compare notes, but I'm so happy that we're both here still another 2 years later. 2 years is a lifetime in this industry. So I'm very happy to have Matt. Please welcome Matt Burton from K&B Reptiles back to the Proper Royals stage. Matt, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Was that that was probably a complete headache to sit through. I really appreciate your patience tonight.
You're good, man. No,
right.
you gotta tell it how you feel, right?
That's right. That's right. And I will give you the exact courtesy. I promise not to interrupt and nothing. I will give you the 100% courtesy as well. Tell us why it makes sense for you and your place and your experience and your perspective.
So first, let me echo your point that people have become way too divided and hateful over something that I think is kind of simple. I mean, I can get why people are upset by it with the relationships that they have with other companies, but for me, it made sense because I do all my shipping through MorphMarket already. The badge, I think, is to an extent unnecessary. I don't think you need any type of badge on your account to know that you're going to be a good seller. I think the reviews and how long you've been selling are going to be a better indicator of how you're going to take care of customers. But I kind of viewed it it's the same way where it's like if I go on Airbnb and you have like the Airbnb like super host versus something that's just like a regular listing, there's a little bit of something in me where it's like I trust that a little bit more. And for you or I, this badge doesn't matter. If I'm buying a snake from you, that I don't care if you have a badge on your account. But for the people who, like, I just shipped out an ivory tonight from somebody who sent an inquiry this morning. Would that person have bought from somebody who was a verified seller if this is their first animal purchase? So I think there's benefits for the people who are newbies, and that's how our industry grows as newbies. So I think that little bit of buyer safety, but buyer comfort is a good factor in it. And then with me already doing all my shipments through MorphMarket already, I can get why you would want to have the shipping through MorphMarket included, not only for having MorphMarket like the shipping team to be able to track everything and make sure, okay, yes, they did follow standards, or no, they didn't follow standards, or this was stuck in Memphis for 3 days. But beyond that, it's like I think I saw something where there's between 100 and 200,000 is somewhere in that range each year is how much the value of claims are for DOAs, late arrival, or something where there's an issue with the shipping. And there is a average of like 3 a month shipments that are DOA or have issues with them where a like chargeback would be warranted. Mm. So like if they're going to offer a service that has to be paid for somehow. So would it have been a smarter idea to pay for the service to not even include, okay, you have to use MorphMarket shipping for this shipment to count towards a buyer protection, Or should it just been, okay, you can have an add-on to your account that's $5, $10 a month, and that gives you a MorphMarket verified badge to where you would have that little bit of customer comfort. I don't know if that would have been better or what difference it would have made, but I think if it was built that way in the beginning, there would probably be less people on two sides.
I promise not to interrupt, so I hope I'm not interrupting. I agree with you completely. That was part of the sort of the area where it stunk to me. Like, if we say, I don't like, what's a comfy number? They're by their metric, by the MorphMarket metric, you've had 5 sales, 5-star reviews, and you completed it. There's got to be 10,000 sellers just for easy math. Do you think there's more or less? Like you say, I don't know. Let's say it's 10,000 people that would qualify for that metric, and you got 70% of them to pay $10 a month. Like you say, that's $70,000. I'm sure they're not like paying out $70,000 a month. It just seems so. Look, and honestly, the last thing I want to do is boil it down even more to Darian and Robin. They're humans too. They're guys trying to get through business. I get it. So, but it just seems like there's that like that jab, interesting comment, which I actually would probably be intrigued by. Courtney says, Stephen chatted with Darian today. They're talking about a separate way to pay for the check mark. Yeah. And that goes back to my first point. What have I been doing for 5 years? I've been helping MorphMarket by being a responsible seller, hopefully a standard bearer in the industry, all those good things that I want to be, like Matt, like most of us in the audience. So to kind of push me out of that really it really kind of bugs me. So that would be a great alternative, and I think it would be a good thing to do. SFC says, what's the prediction on how the lack of a check mark will influence sales? I don't know, Matt.
I don't think very much, honestly. I don't think it's going to impact a ton. I think it'll have some impact. I think the only impact it's really going to have is on that pet level purchase. Stuff that's under $350, it sells on MorphMarket, yeah, but stuff like that, when people are buying a pet, those are more likely to be bought in an expo or bought locally.
That's right.
Not a lot of these like show snakes are sold on MorphMarket. So I think that'll impact that market, but I don't think it's going to have a huge overarching effect on sales. Do I think sales are going to go up? Yes, but only in that range. That's like under $500, but probably going to be in that $150 to $350 range.
Let me ask you this question that's completely loaded, admittedly. If MorphMarket's taught us anything, it's that people are only loyal to price. Are we supposed to believe now their pitch that the green check mark will override that? So not to put you on the spot, but a hypothetical sale that was perhaps an ivory today, were there other cheaper, similar examples, or do you think that you got it from the check mark? Or do you know?
No, I don't know. I guess I could ask the guy if he had noticed the check mark, but
totally discussion point, not a fact checking mission.
No, and the ivory stuff. I mean, it was priced the same as like every other ivory on there. So is it somebody who has seen me at a show and I just don't remember the name and shipped a snake to him? Is it somebody I've talked to on Instagram a couple of times? Is it somebody who was just scrolling through the main feed and mine just happened to be uploaded right before they got on there? Who's to say? I don't know. I really don't see it having a giant effect in either direction. If anything, slightly positive.
I get to your point. I don't think there's a negative, I don't think you're going to suffer for having it. There's not going to be a movement like screw these green check people. I don't know. Maybe I can't imagine that. So I don't see that being the case whatsoever. But it struck me as ironic, again, more philosophically and discussion wise, that the real motive and culture of MorphMarket has been cheaper is better. That's the bottom line. That's what counts. That's it. And now it's like, well, you're going to get more sales and you could have a better, like, just the point I was just making, like, maybe it's something that will have more value than pricing. I'm not sure. Interesting to see. And I do look at, again, as fun as it is to get tribal about this stuff and hate this and that, I do pay MorphMarket. I am a member on MorphMarket, or a subscriber, or whatever the word is. And it absolutely brings value to our industry. I don't like some of the ways that things are done, but I would give credit where it was due if they made that an option for people that did meet the standards. And again, as a line item, made it, hey, this can't apply if you don't ship with us. Okay, so my reputation's good, but I'm going to get a little shorter end of the stick on the coverage because I choose not to use that. Okay, that's a different story. I would feel, I feel a whole lot better, and honestly, I would give a fair segment on that too if that were to come around. So, anyhow, enough of the things that we can't control and that aren't about us. Why have a show if we can't talk about us, right, man?
That's what I'm here for, man.
That's right. How's life been, man? 2 years can be an eternity. You've had both in this industry, but also outside of the industry. What's been going on, man?
Yeah, man. Like I told you back in the backstage, you could have told me we had done this 6 months ago, and I would have been like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Man, it's been a whirlwind, honestly. So in the fall, we found out that my wife was pregnant, and it took us about 2 years for that to happen. So we rejoiced in that. We're very happy. We're having a baby in May. And for the last 2 years, it's really just been kind of day in, day out, just kind of the everyday grind. I've been building all of this in my downtime from the day job. But then I do plan, once the baby comes, to take this full time. I would say my collection is not full time ready. So I don't want to come out and just be like, oh, I've only been doing this for 5 years, we're going full time. So I don't see it like that. The driver for this was, we had always liked the idea. Kaylee and I, we have always liked the idea of having one of us raise the kid at home if we were able to, and not have to rely on like a daycare service. So I've been building this up in order to cover that little bit of lost income that I have. So Kaylee's got a higher earning potential than me. She's an attorney, so I did well there.
There you go.
So her job made way more sense to stay in long term. And then after factoring in a monthly childcare of $1,700 per and $2,500 for two a month, I'll be able to make up my other part of my salary from doing this. And I can do this in the middle of the night if I need to. So it made way more sense family wise for me to take a step back from my career, turn this into my full-time career, and be able to raise my daughter.
I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you say this is your second or this is your first?
This is our first.
Congratulations. It's a whole new world. It's I'm sure I'm going to sound like an old man here, but it's a whole new world. It's a beautiful time. You'll be a zombie for about a year. You'll be on the show in a year, and you're going to be like, I don't really know what happened with any of it, Adam. I couldn't tell you, but you'll get by and you'll survive. And congratulations all around. Kelly and I, my wife, that was our goal when our son was born 12 years ago, not the snakes part, but that ideally one of us would be able to stay home with our child. And at that time I was the breadwinner. But it was the same stuff you just talked through. Like, it's something you want to be able to do if you can, or we wanted to be able to. I don't know that anybody else wants to. We wanted to be able to do. But then, like you say, the cost of childcare, I mean, that's an extra mortgage payment for a lot of people. And to have that, like, it's such a joyous time. You have this baby, and then all of a sudden you're like, how do we pay for all of this? And you're right. The math suddenly starts to make sense. And that's what we looked at. Kelly ended up staying home, certainly through the formative years, and then got part-time work from home, remote, and ended up working full-time from home for 10 years. And then at about that time that she decided she'd had enough of the home and wanted to go back to the work, I was like, fantastic. I got this little side project I've been kicking around. And so that's me now. And I wish you well. I think you'll be, it's an amazing time. I'm glad you had this opportunity to do it this way. Congratulations. Because a lot of people would work towards that, and that would be a dream for a lot of people that they don't get a chance to do. And way to stake your claim and make it happen, man. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Sorry I stumbled around on it, but that's some really special stuff. So you said you didn't think that your collection was ready. And one of the things that I've often thought, and I've never had a good platform or moment or context for it to come up on, is a lot of breeders have like an actual other side hustle, like another job side hustle, kind of like I do. But then they also have these like industry side hustles, like maybe a podcast or slinging cocoa or working with other breeders and distributing their product for a commission or a split, et cetera, et cetera. Have you ever thought about any of that, or what's your, from a business standpoint, like, not getting specific numbers, but is the gap something that's scary to you? Is it just a matter of time? Talk us through some of that.
So based on what I did this last year on 30 clutches, my expectation of 40 clutches, 45 clutches this year would almost exactly make up that lost income. And that was after factoring in, I held back like 30 snakes last season.
Okay.
So the hold back this coming season, like, will I have to sell a couple that I probably wouldn't have otherwise if I kept this like hobby speed? Probably. I'll probably end up selling something that I don't really want to. But it's even if I am bringing in even like substantially less, if we're able to cover everything and still be comfortable for the peace of mind and for like the family value, still worth it. It's kind of daunting, I suppose, thinking about it, just because it's like I go to school so that I can get a job. I get a job. I work. I have a child. I have a child to raise the child, and then I retire when I'm 70.
Yeah.
I've fallen out of that style of thinking. It's like, if I can do this and I can work for myself on my own, sure, let's do that. But as far as like the other like side hustle type things, probably just from the start, it'll be this. And then I'll likely ramp up my rodent production as well. And I'll probably just start selling a decent amount of rodents there. I sell enough now that it covers all the food and bedding and like pays me $20 an hour whenever I clean for 5 or 6 hours a week. So right now it's like, I wouldn't call it a hustle. I'm making enough and to keep these guys fat and happy. So I don't know how much I'll ramp that up. I might just probably, in our space, I could probably add another like a 50-32, like the ARS 50 series rack. Mm-hmm. I could probably just like add another one of those. And then that rack is just a for sale rack. Everything that comes out of there would be, and it would probably be speed ASFs just because they're breeding like crazy for me. So I would be kind of grateful not to breed more of those.
That's all I breed, man. And if you were to ask me my biggest change, well, actually I've had a hell of a lot of changes. Anyway, I'm into rodents now, which I swore off for years. I swore I would never touch rodents. You said something that really caught my mind. You said if you have the opportunity to do it, both for the family value, the peace of mind, and like a switch from you go to school, you learn this thing, you go to another school, you learn this other thing, and then you go to the job and you do that for 50 years. And it took me a really hard time to get to where you're at mentally right now, in my 40s. And it's something they don't teach us in school. It drives me bonkers, but my experience has been, you'll work crazy, you'll go crazy trying to figure it out. And then you'll look around you one day and be like, I'm actually doing this thing. And all that stuff that I worried about is just fine. It's just fine. It doesn't mean you can take your foot off the gas pedal, but it's just fine, man. So go do it. And if you can always go back. Like if you fail, fine. You did it. You go back, go make it up. You'll make it up. There'll be somebody that'll hire you. I promise. You're a good dude. Somebody will take you. Like you can go do it. You can go back. You can do it. So, what are you worried about? Like like that's all fun and easy to say and cool to be positive and all. Like do you have any, like, you probably have night sweats over the kid coming much more than this. Like you're kind of doubling up on stressful things here.
Yeah. Honestly, having the support system that we have, like we have family close by on both sides of our family. So I know that I'll be able to like worst case scenario, if I've got 3 hours of cleaning that I need to do, I know one of our moms will be able to come over and babysit for
smart.
a couple hours and help us out. So the management, and I mean, I'm managing this now with a full-time job and every other responsibility going on. So when I'm home and I can just, and I guess another, I don't know, I would call it an announcement or just something that I'm doing. I'm in a 22 by 8 room right now. I framed off our, so we have a tri-level, we have a finished basement, and I framed out part of the basement that was just kind of like a long shape that went underneath the house in the front. It was only 8 foot wide. So I framed that out and lined the walls with racks. And then the main area, I have no clue. It's probably like 25 by 25. But I'm going to take over that room as well.
Oh, that's a lot of space. Yeah. Good for you.
So I'll be able to like have everything built up and have enough out here that I know I'll be fine covering what I need to. In the beginning, it's probably just going to be monitoring how many clutches I want to do while I'm in what stage of the kid's life, because
and the one-man show or the employee factor.
Yeah, because once she's up and running around, I might do a few less clutches, and just kind of hit above that minimum like personal requirement and not try to go all out and do 80, 90 clutches. So it'll just kind of be a learning game and taking it season by season as far as like how big or how much I do. But I think going 30 clutches with the full-time job was fine for me. So I think 40 clutches with the baby, I say this with no experience, I should be able to manage. And from there, it'll just be seeing how well I manage that and before I make a decision for the next season.
I was not doing this when I had an infant. I had just taken on a new job and gotten promoted. And truth be told, I'd been promoted a little bit above my abilities, which is a good and a bad thing. It's great to have those opportunities and it's a real test and that's how you grow. I was going absolutely bonkers. I was working, 70, 80 hours a week. I knew I couldn't lose my job because I just moved my family. Matter of fact, I moved from Florida to North Carolina while my wife was 8 months pregnant. She stayed in Florida just so I could take that job. That's how monumental that job was. So when I say I was a zombie for a year, I have very little memories of that time. They were happy, but I just remember them being stressful as anything. So do I think I could handle 40 clutches on top of that? No. Without that stress, maybe, because that was a pretty bananas time for me. But those are the times that you get through and that are formative times, So
right.
You'll find it, like you say, the support system is good, and it's not like you're doing something new. Like, what the steps are, so you'll have an idea if you're in over your head and that stuff. Because I'm a total nerd, give us some stats on what you got. And the 22 by 8 measurement is pretty interesting to me. The facility that I'm outfitting right now, and I'll move into shortly, the snake area is going to be 30 by 10. And the other side of the parallel other side of it is basically 30 by 8 for the rodents, or 20. It'll be 22 by 8 because I'll have a little loading area. But anyway, the 30 by 10. So in your 22 by 8, what, give us some stats on the kind of numbers that you run in there as far as number of snakes and setup.
So I'll show you real quick just how it, see if I can see it here. So I have a 36-inch aisle.
Yep.
And you've seen me. I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
So that's the most annoying part of it. The wall that I've got, that is the main wall for the racks back here. I've got a 70-30. I've got a 55-40. I've got a 50-40, another 50-40.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a gap big enough for one of the what are they? The Reptile Basics, the VE6 racks. I don't know if you've ever seen those. It's a similar style tub to like the V18s or whatever.
Sure. So you got your hatchling set. Yeah, actually, it's funny. I have literally that. I didn't know the numbers of it. I literally have that rack over there.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then there's enough space for one of those in there. So I don't know if I had the 70-30 finished out, which honestly I'll finish out with levels of 55s that I've got in the garage. I just need to bring down here and set them up. Just call it 40, 80 adult female tubs, and then 80 tubs of the 50 series, which are grow outs, and then some of the breeder females who aren't eating well in a 55. I'll move them down into a 50.
Right.
And I'll breed females in here. I think I pulled 10 clutches out of here last year from females that just didn't really want to eat in the 55s. Move them down into here, they eat and they breed and they go like that.
Then holdbacks yesterday from one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the holdbacks, I got this from Will Moreau's. I start my good holdbacks. I start them in a 50. I skip a hatchling tub. I put them straight in a 50, and I'll give them meals in there. And I think 8 for 10 on them taking their first meal after being in a 50 series tubs. I normally put them in there, and then it's either 1 day or 2 days later, I'll throw an ASF in there. And I went 8 for 10 on the ones that I started straight into the 50 series, and they have not gone off food.
Wow. Okay.
I think the reason behind it is I feel like a lot of these snakes, they're so comfort driven, and then you switch their tub and then they don't want to eat. It's something new for them. So if I can start them in this 50, and they're going to be in this 50 their entire life, the male, like I met the breeder males especially, if I start a male in a 50 in here, and he's comfortable with that his entire life. Now, if he goes off food, I'll move him down if I need to. But if he's comfortable with that and he stays in that, that's so much less bouncing around he's doing that could potentially throw him off of his game.
Yeah. Do you start them with tubs or not tubs? Do you start them with hides in the tubs? What do you do? Nothing. Just hatchling straight into the 50.
Hatchlings on cypress mulch in the water bowl. And then I went 8 for 10. And then the 2 that didn't eat, I moved them down to a 10 series, and they took 2 meals in there. After the 2 meals in there, put them in the 50s, and they've stayed there.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Huh. Interesting. I got to keep that in mind. I will have, oddly enough, I'll have the 70-30. I'll have 2 55s and 1 50 for my non-hatchling. So very, very similar. I think you have 1 55. I'll have 2, but you got the 2 50s. So how high do you run them?
So on my 55, I have 11, and I can do that, but I don't enjoy it. I like to be able to see straight into it.
Right.
And I can do that on 10 levels. I can see right into it just enough on my tippy toes where if she was up front, she could grab me if she wanted to. I can see into a 10. The 11s I have up there just because I bought an extra level, so I put it on there, but I don't think I've had a snake in there longer than like a month before I ended up moving it down somewhere. So that's kind of wasted space up there. I've thought about how I want to structure the room whenever I move it over. I'm thinking about just doing my racks either 9 or 10 levels all the way around, because I'll have the extra space and I'm not going to fill it with animals. So if I can just make it as convenient as possible and not have to carry around a little step stool, I would prefer that.
Right.
But I think if I can just do 9 high, I'll have some room to the ceiling. I get from either Lowe's or Home Depot one. Husky makes like a worktop, so I've got a stainless steel worktop that's like for a workbench, and I've got that on top of my half 70.
Yeah,
I'll probably
actually,
put something like that across them, and then just put storage on top.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea for the storage. Yeah, that my low 70 in the background, same thing there. That's a work table over there. It's from mine was from what's that store? Not Aldi, IKEA. That's a IKEA desktop back there that I can wipe down, the same kind of thing. So my ceiling in the new place is going to be 10 feet high, but it's not like I have overflow. If I move to the next, I don't know if you followed the saga. It's a car wash that I bought. So each bay, I've converted one bay, but the conversion on top of buying the property, the conversion is it's starting to flirt with around 30 grand to convert it to a usable reptile space.
Yeah.
So it's a really massive step to jump to that. And so, I mean, I'm going to be in there for several years before I can ever I guess if, I don't know, maybe I'll hit something that's amazing and it'll all just make sense to do. But basically, I left Bert's comment up here from Snake X, looks perfect. No, not heating wasted space. One of the most efficient and profitable restaurants I ever ran was a very small footprint where we felt like we were on top of each other. But the reason being was there was no wasted space, and the facilities cost and the capital expenditures was so minimal compared to most these massive kitchens where people don't use 80% of the space most of the time. So that's the theory I'm operating on, but I might have to learn how to go pretty high. Now, I don't clear quite the clearance that you do. So I'm running 10 high, but my 9 and 10 levels, I can't see in either. So yeah, there's a bit of a strategy there. I was going to ask which ones you keep up top, but it sounds like you prefer to keep none up top. Yeah,
the ones that I do keep up top, for the most part, whenever I put something up top, it's because it's not eating down low. So I figure it's probably a degree warmer up there. So yeah. I'll put those up at the top and then start feeding them in there. And then ideally they start eating well up there, and I can reliably just open it, toss a tail in, close it, and come back and do a scan a little bit later and not have to worry about something just wasting away. The other thing that I've done with the ones that are at the top is put the holdbacks, and because they're so small that like their like poop in there is so minimal. It's not like if I go an extra day from cleaning a giant female that's in a 55, as opposed to going an extra day in a 200-gram snake that poops in a 50, they're going to be fine in there. Whereas over the adult's going to be sitting on top of poop, and I don't like that. Right. Yeah. I like Will's comment. Will says he runs 12 high, and Will is much closer to my height. And I might even have a little bit of height on Will. And he says for the top 3 levels, just let Jesus take the wheel. Yeah. The other night I nearly fell off my step stool. The thing I found is my breeding females being up that high. Like you say, the holdbacks that are a little bit smaller, not that big of a deal, man. I'd fed her and she wanted more food and I didn't realize it. And man, I opened that tub, not paying attention, and just poof, she didn't get me, but like I say, that me and that step stool departed ways pretty quickly there. I didn't fall, but I used to jump back kind of deal. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but I like, parameters, restrictions, guardrails. I like all that put on me because I'm the kind of guy that'll just the scope of everything will just creep. And I kind of need that. I need that in life. I need that in my work and in my show notes, all of it. I need these guardrails. So that's what it'll be. I have to make it work in that facility. Yeah. Oh, Corey says, yeah, tongs for the, yeah, I don't feed anything without tongs. I don't even feed my hatchlings without tongs. Really? I hate grabbing a live rodent with tongs and then they're squirming all over.
Oh, I don't have them handy. And I know everybody thinks I'm just such a homer for Redline. The Redline Science tong, they call them sponge tip tongs. I've never had a rodent escape live. I've never had even a jumbo ASF wiggle its way out of those. They call them sponge tips. They got the ridges on them, and it's maybe a centimeter, almost like platypus duckbill kind of pincher at the end.
Yeah.
You can hold right on, and that animal ain't going anywhere, man. I've never had one escape that thing. So I just pop those up, and that's that. So, quick thanks to Jeremy. I'm glad that the new hatchlings are eating. That is good. Thanks for the support on that. 25 by 25. That's a lot of space. I mean, 525 more square feet. Like the wheels are already going. Like what's going to go in there? Yeah. What is it going to be? It's not going to be rodent space. That'll be reptile space.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be reptile space. If it was rodent space, that would be 2 steps away from my laundry room and too many steps, too close to my. I don't want any rodents in the house.
I don't want them in the house either. Right.
Even the garage, I don't really like the idea of. So we have I share a barn, which is about 10 minutes away, with Charles Napier. It's Napier Exotics. He does mostly boas. But I've gotten them into some cool ball python stuff now. So we share a barn, and we have probably 70 something rat tubs. We've got a ARS 5032 for ASFs. We've got a 10 series rack for ASFs, a couple grow out racks, and then we do a bunch of colonies of mice as well. So we do everything on his property out in the country, and then I just bring it over here because I live not in like the city, but I live in a suburb. Yeah. So it would be kind of tough to manage breeding rodents out here. I could do it in a shed, but then I've got a nosy old neighbor who would want to know what I'm doing in there all the time.
I've made it almost 18 months without my neighbors having a clue that there's thousands of rodents in my little garage shed. And I'm so close to moving them out. And like Kelly and I were joking the other day, somebody was moving in across the street, and like all the neighbors were looking, and I was like, oh, just wait till they see what I move out of here when I pull up with a moving truck and wheel these things out, man.
Yeah, I was doing it out of my garage when I first moved here. Because my last house, the garage, I had all my racks in the garage and it was totally fine. We were not on a walkable corner, so I never had anybody peeking in. Here, we live right next to a public park where everybody walks straight over to it, and there was no way to hide the racks in the garage. So I just got like a big, like heavy, like industrial curtain and hung it halfway down the garage and just wrapped everything around there. Yep. And I ended up moving because I was going to have to put in some type of like heavy ventilation in here just with the size that I would need. I wasn't running 2 or 3 rat racks anymore. And it just made way more sense to just have them off site, not to worry about it. But
yeah, you want them out of, I mean, ideal. I'm not saying what I have is ideal. I cannot wait to get mine out of here. The other thing is I don't want escapees. I don't want them I don't want my house infested with rodents. And that's what they do. That's what their thing is. And fingers crossed, I've made it this far. I'm just like, I think in a month I'll have the rodents moved out of here. I've got to get the inspections finished and get a certificate of occupancy and all that. But that's a whole different show, different episode. So soon enough on that. Well, good luck on the future, man. I mean, and the future's like, when's the baby due? May
28th. Yep.
All right. Well, blessings to you on all of that. Same to your wife. It's going to be an amazing time for you. So good luck with that. I think now's a good time. Give me just a moment to pay some bills here. And then when we come back, I want to talk about some of the projects you had been working on 2 years ago. I did some trusty pre-show work with, if everybody thinks I just wing this stuff, I do a little bit of work. I want to hear the stuff you had been working on, what your experience has been over the past 2 years with some of these combos and projects, successes, maybe not failures, opportunities, whatever the right way is. So stick around, guys. We'll be right back with Matt. In the meantime, I got to tell you about Redline Shipping. I told you all about it earlier. I gave you my thoughts on it. But Redline is who I do choose to use for shipping. Just today, I called Redline Shipping I had packages going out all across the United States. Yeah, it's a little bit warmer here in Minnesota, but it's downright almost hot in Florida. Do I need heat on which end? Do I need heat and phase? And obviously I want to be able to meet their insurance requirements. They talked me right through it, got everything in order, and the animals went out today. Just another example of why I choose Redline. Use the promo code PROPER5 if you want to go check it out. Save yourself $5 on your next shipping label. It's Reptile people supporting Reptile people, and they'll help you out. You can call them directly. Speaking of Reptile people helping out Reptile people is shedtesting.com. That is Charlie Williams. I also heard from Charlie today, got some results back in. By the way, Charlie, I think you were watching earlier. I don't know if you still are. Thanks for the quick work. I didn't even realize you had the sheds yet, much less that I was getting the results back today. So thank you very much. Charlie is the guy that does the testing. He reports the testing to you. He's who you can call for customer service questions, finding out what tests he has available, all that. So here's your pitch. Genetic testing for over 32 ball python genes. And that's just what's listed. Charlie, if he has one thing in a complex, he probably has the tests for all the other genes in the complex. That's a probably. Check with him on that, but it's definitely worth asking. He also could be in progress on things where he might not guarantee the results, but he could tell you how the results stack up against the research that he's done thus far. So you can ask him about that. Again, that's no guarantee, no promise on that, but it's worth giving him a call if there's something interesting that you're working on. But for sure, available tests like VPI, Xanthic, Wookiee, Sunset, Clown Puzzle, Ultramel Zebra, and the full yellow belly complex. Use the promo code PROPER15 for 15% off of 2 orders, and each order can have as many individual shed tests as you want. If you want to stockpile 20 sheds and place an order, do it. Get yourself 15% off, and then do it again in another month or 2 when you have another 20 sheds that you need to test. So shedtesting.com, that's Charlie. New sponsor this week. I have to give one last great thanks to Argen Reptiles. That is Robbie Richard down in Greer, South Carolina. It's a pleasure doing business with you. It will be a pleasure working with you and keeping up with you in the future. So thanks very much. You'll always be a friend of the show and a friend of Proper Royals. Reagan Renee Royal Pythons. That's Charlie Ryan defending current undisputed 15 minutes of lame champion right now. Definitely ball python breeder. Charlie Ryan, his brand is Reagan Renee Royal Pythons, RRRP. That's the R there, the big silver one at the top of the screen. If you're not familiar with Charlie, go check him out for the best in Kryptons. And he has amazing projects with DG, G-Stripe, Candy, Pied, Clowns, and single, double, triple. And I'm quite sure he's hit quad hats, and he might even have already stumbled into some Quint hats, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But on his MorphMarket page right now, you could see all those single, double, triple ingredients with those recessives that I'm talking about. Charlie's become a very good friend, and he's one of the very few people that I've handed the reins of the show over to when I go take a vacation and keep the show going. So glad to have you. He's been a long time sponsor on Thursday mornings, Proper Cup of Joe. And now here he is on Tuesday nights. Glad to have you. Thanks, Charlie. Welcome. Portuguese Pythons. That's Danny and Renee Rocha out in Chino, California. Every time that I check for new updates on their MorphMarket, it's incredible. I went tonight because I like to keep up to date on current details for those sponsors, the people that support me. I want to support them. What's the first thing I see? Pastel Sunset Het Hypo for sale on their MorphMarket right now. There you go. There's your promo. How about that? Now, all of my Ultramel Pied stuff comes from them. I love their Ultramel project, Ultramel and Dark Jeans. You'll see a bunch of cool stuff on their MorphMarket with that, as well as Ultramel Clown. What else is on there right now? Oh, Ultramel puzzle ingredients are available right now as well on their MorphMarket page. Go check out Danny and Renee, a couple of my favorite people in the industry. They're great to do business with, but they're also great for just a phone call to talk business with. So go check them out. Trevor at Ball Labs in Aurora, Colorado. Trevor is working anything and everything that he can get his hands on. He's doing it the right way. It was intriguing to me. He told me he likes working genes that maybe people have forgotten about, or genes that were popular a while back that maybe haven't seen modern combos. But he's also working things like Puzzle, Ultramel Clown, VPI Xanthic, Tri-Stripe, Monsoon, Zebra, and Sunset. That again is Trevor in Aurora, Colorado. Here's a cool detail. He's one of the very few licensed rodent breeders in Colorado. Technically, legally to breed and sell rodents, you have to be inspected and licensed, and he's doing that the right way, and he is inspected and licensed. When I say a handful, I think there's less than 10 of those licenses in Colorado, and I don't think that stuff happens in a vacuum. So if he handles his rodents that way, I bet he handles his ball pythons that way. He's a great guy to work with, do business with. I will see Trevor in April out at the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo. I'll be out there with Redline Shipping at the Expo. Last but not least is Chris at BNS Reptilia, the original sponsor of Proper Royals. I'm so thankful and proud to still be doing business with him. Chris is my business partner at Tinley. He and I vend that table together. He'll be there in October. He won't be there this March. I will be there this March. But in the meantime, you can check out Chris for ball pythons, blood pythons, locality boas, colubrids of all shapes and sizes, Pituophis, if that's up your alley. And he will walk you through any permits or permissions or special stipulations needed for snakes in your state. He's knowledgeable on all of that. And when we do vend at Tinley and he has those, he's got the licenses and the permits for the bull snakes and pine snakes as well. So Chris is also the regional shipper of the Chipper Cocoa in Pennsylvania. Give him a call if he can help you out on any of those topics, or if you're interested in getting into the cocoa game with the Chipper as well, you can reach out to him for information on that. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to the audience. All of you keep the show going. I'm proud to say that the show is now into its 4th year. I can't believe I'm sitting here sometimes. So thank you all. Otherwise, it'd just be me yelling into a camera. Tonight, we got Matt from K&B. That's Matt Burton from K&B Reptiles. Matt, before I forget to ask, where can people see you? Where can they find you on the internet? And where are some shows that you'll be at coming up soon?
Yeah, it's K&B Reptiles on everything, mostly Instagram. I've got the Facebook account linked to it. It's all going to be the same content there. I am on TikTok. We used to do a lot on TikTok, mostly when we had the hog nose. Those seem to do much better than the ball pythons do on TikTok, but we do have a page there. I'm going to try to get back to at least putting something on there. And then YouTube, I slacked on for a full year. But
I saw you. Go ahead. I saw. Congratulations.
I had every intention of making like clutch videos and like pairing updates and all this stuff, and then I just never did a single one. But I did put out a video last week where I just kind of ran through a lot of the holdbacks that I made this last season, as well as some of just the other cool stuff that's just waiting to be shipped out, and then just kind of did a recap on last season, what I'm looking for this season, just to kind of get the gear rolling again, because I would like to keep myself more accountable with putting YouTube videos up. I don't know how much of a draw it has for different crowds, but you might know better than I do. Like a lot of the YouTube views, am I going to be accomplishing that the same way on Instagram and Facebook, or is this going to just put the YouTube algorithm, does it push out to more people who might not already know my account?
I can't answer that specifically. It does reach different people. There's different users that use and enjoy YouTube, that use and enjoy Facebook, and that use and enjoy Instagram. I think it was Steven, but maybe he and I landed at this together, or it came up in conversation. Instagram is like a really, really wide net, but very little depth and engagement. YouTube is a narrower net, but it sinks way further. Like if you get people in that net, they're in. Like those are your people there. Facebook, I don't know. Facebook, I do well on Facebook, but I couldn't define it. I have trouble defining Facebook. And similarly, I don't do anything on TikTok. But what I have done on TikTok is done okay. But I haven't figured out a definition yet for TikTok either. So what I do believe is the more diversified your platforms that you can do effectively, the better it's going to be. I mean, the funnel works really well. So it's kind of like you were talking about earlier, like certain animals you're going to sell on MorphMarket and not Facebook. So certain content is definitely better in depth for like an in-depth tour, what you have going on. That's perfect for YouTube. You can't cram that into a reel on Instagram. Whereas, boom, this snake is amazing. Here's 45 seconds of why. You're probably not going to make a YouTube video of that. You could. They have shorts and that sort of thing. But the deeper engagement, go over to YouTube. But it's been good to have. For me, I try and keep up primarily Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are my primary things that I keep up. And live shows, but that's a different platform. Speaking of live shows, you just made a note in the comments here. Tell us about this. I think this is pretty interesting. There's a lot of times that you vend with a group of vendors. Tell me about how that came about, the benefits you've seen of it, and then like the natural things that I might ask, like, well, yeah, but your competition's there. What happens if they crush it one day and you're left empty-handed? Or what are the pitfalls of that? It sounds like almost like being in a band. Like this is you're gonna have some challenges. What's the scenario that you're in on that?
I love sharing space, and like to your point, like if somebody like crushes it, like because I'm gonna be with Ken at Tinley.
Yeah.
If I go to Tinley and I'm hanging out with Ken all weekend and Ken crushes it and I don't sell a snake, cool. I got to hang out with a friend all weekend. I got to do what I enjoy doing, and I'll probably make follow-up sales from just being at the show.
Right.
And the next show comes around, I might crush it. Ken might not do as well. So it's shows are kind of happenstance. It's like the right person's got to be there. You got to have the right conversation, and that just kind of snowballs things. It's not, you're not going in. I don't go into shows expecting to like go do crazy numbers. I go into shows to hang out with other snake nerds and get my like face out there and meet people, because I've made the sales that I've made that have been more substantial value wise, especially, are not somebody coming across my like MorphMarket ad and saying that they're interested in an animal. It's somebody who I have talked to at Tinley every time I've been there. I know they're in this project. I'm like, hey, check this out. This just came out of the egg and I want it. Let's get it. And it works that way. So the networking side of it is huge.
You got to, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Audience, if you take nothing away from this episode, what Matt just said is absolutely true. Build it. Every chance you get is nothing but building your brand, whether you sell anything or not. What you just said, your most expensive snakes sold are rarely going to be just some magic moment where somebody stumbles there and hands you thousands of dollars. It's a long build. It's relationship building when you don't even realize you're building a relationship, when that person doesn't even realize that they want a multi-$1,000 snake. It starts in every little thing that you do, man. I'm so glad you said that. You're bang on that, man. That is exactly right.
Yeah. And then too, from a vendor standpoint, like how stressful is it when you go to a show, a busy show, and it's just you all day. Yeah. And pounding coffee like Adam does, because he had a good time networking the night before. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you're anything like me, like at the Southeast Reptile Expo and they had that free monster booth, they probably got tired of seeing my face, honestly. But having these guys that like, I gotta go to the bathroom, cover for me, or like at Southeast, they do like the pop-up like interviews, like the booths there, be like, hey, I gotta go talk to Mike for half an hour. I need you to cover for me. Or like, hey, like I'll then with Corey and Brandon, one of them will go grab food and come back. And then it's a fun hangout. Like I said, I mean, we're having fun with snake friends. I don't want to spend a weekend any other way. And two, we're supporting each other's businesses. And it's not like I'm going to go in and take any sales from Corey or take any sales from Brandon and vice versa. It's like, I don't work sunset. Somebody comes around to my side of the table, is asking for sunsets, or they're asking for ultramels, or they're asking for rainbows or something. And be like, oh, Brandon's on the other side of the table. He's got what you need over there. Or they're wanting like crazy clown combos, and be like, I don't have that. Corey's going to have you right around here. Come check out what he's got. And like, there's be times where like one of us will have to leave the table and go do something. And we'll walk over and try to make other sales over on
Right. Yeah. You're
the
not
other
here
side
to
of the table.
abandon somebody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, but it works out so well for everybody, and it also helps to give you a little bit of that presence. I don't know if you saw the banner
Oh, it's
that
great.
does.
I have seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I then with Ken, we'll set up like my, if we're doing one table, we'll do like my tablecloth, his banner. We don't have a joint one. We probably will, because especially now we're going to be doing the mid ARS show, the Midwest Reptile
Oh,
Expo.
cool. Yep.
I don't know that we'll do it for this one that's going to be coming up, but you can get a, like, I think that banner I want to say was like $500
Yeah.
split between 3 people.
Right.
It's a 16-foot banner. That's not bad split between 3 people, and it's going to be a banner that we're going to use like for a long time, and that gives that booth a big island feel rather than 3 individual booths, and then I'm going to peek behind a curtain and ask Brandon how he's doing and close it back up.
Right. Right.
And it's like, dude, I like to move around, so
Yeah.
having a big area where I can kind of just like pace back and forth and see people that I want to talk to over there and go holler at them this way. It works out really well. And the shows that I do by myself, I don't want to say like I don't enjoy them, because I do enjoy them. I'm doing what I enjoy doing, but it feels like empty. Like I want my friends here. I want to be
Oh, I
hanging
got
out.
Yeah, I get in such a work mode. I don't mind vending by myself, but you're exactly right. On the long days, like anybody out there that wants a little experience vending for, 15 minutes so I can go, zip to the restroom, swing by the table. I'll give to your experience. And, Matt, if you get a little bored or Ken's had enough of your, drumming, you can, he called you the drummer. I don't know what that means, but I mean, maybe that's a negative.
You made the band reference.
Oh, I know. I'm playing dumb here. I'm playing the straight guy here. Anyway, come by the table. I will take Tinley is, Saturday at Tinley is the longest day of vending in my life. It is ungodly early that we start. I don't know why we start that early on Saturday and then go, well, it goes to like 6 o'clock on Saturday.
Good. Was it 6?
Maybe it's 5. I don't know. It's so long.
I just wait till I hear people start to leave. Like, oh, all right, I'm gonna go.
It's so long, man. By myself. When Chris and his family are there, it's a little more like what you're talking about. But yeah, this time will be me solo. So come on by, folks, and I'll probably give you a discount if you bring me a little coffee any time of the day. No restrictions on that. What are some combos that you're working that you've enjoyed? I wrote some questions here. Or what, specifically double or triple recessive projects. What are you like still most hot on, and what are some that have like fizzled out for you that maybe you were working that you're like, I don't know, or is 2 years too short to have fizzled on anything?
Yeah, I think it's too short. The only thing that I wouldn't say I fizzled on, because I've still added animals, but my tri-stripe, I haven't. And some projects seem to treat you well. Some seem to not. And I didn't have that many pairings for my tri-stripe stuff anyway. But I think I paired 4 females and I got 2 clutches. They were first time females, so that's, that is what it is. One of the clutches was 3 eggs, and it was to make, like, I really just wanted to hit a GHI Hypo het tri-stripe. And I made 2 normal males, and I made a female GHI het tri-stripe that did not prove out het hypo. So I didn't get any help there. And then the other clutch I thought was going to be great, because it was fire tri-stripe het hypo to a black pastel hypo het tri-stripe. So I'm shooting for like black pastel hypo tri-stripe. That sounds really cool. I got 9 eggs.
Yeah. Okay.
I got 0 hypo tri-stripes. I got 0 black pastel tri-stripes. I made black pastel hypo het tri, and I made fire tri-stripe het hypos. So it was a good clutch.
Yeah.
But the gold snakes just were not there,
right,
for what I wanted. So I still have my tri-stripe project. It's just smaller than I anticipated it being, because all the additions that I've made are either hypo, puzzle, or kind of desert ghost-ish.
Yeah.
But most of my purchases have been towards hypo combos and puzzle stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's talk about puzzle for a minute. Where that seems to be a little bit polarizing. I do have puzzle. I am working in that hypo puzzle as well. What excites you in it? Where do you want to take that? Where do you want to see that go on for yourself?
I like the hypo puzzle stuff specifically because I really like color that seems like it has depth.
Sure.
So if you like picture like a orange dream hypo combo where it's like that orange just seems like it kind of just like breathes out from the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that type of look. I really like so Danny Schumann made some blackhead puzzle combos.
I've seen them in person. Yeah, they're fantastic. They're phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's up. You probably all do similar shows and because he branches up that way.
Yeah, we see each other often, and actually, normally I'd see him this weekend, but there's a show in Minneapolis this weekend and one in Iowa, and we usually do both of those. But the Iowa one is closer to him, and this one's closer to me. So, kind of do your hometown when you can.
Yeah. So if you've seen the like the ones that he's made, where it's like that real tight chaining,
mm-hmm.
I like that look, but I want to be able to tweak it more. Have you seen people that like hate on Enchi and puzzle? Have you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, most of the hate on comes from Clown, which I understand why. I get it. I don't know if that'll ever break through or not, or if that's just truly a dead one. Not so much on Enchi though. No.
I think the whole there's some people that will try to say like Enchi doesn't work well in puzzle. I think Enchi works phenomenally in puzzle. I really like puzzles that like open up that pattern, like the big blocky type look.
Yeah.
So I want to do Enchi Blackhead Hypo puzzle and have those two fight. I want to see like the Enchi open up that tight chaining that the Blackhead seem to do. And just a regular Blackhead puzzle isn't real tight like that. There's still a good amount of pattern on the side that it's totally workable. And the interaction that you get from a dark gene like Blackhead or Black Pastel, Cinnamon, and Enchi, especially the Black Pastel and Enchi, because of it being allelic, a lot of those combos will have that like radiant type of orange from the beginning. Like if you've ever seen like a Mojave, Enchi, Black Pastel, they for some reason they're orange, and that's why a lot of that like campfire stuff goes that way.
Yeah. Well, and Enchi's great for bringing out though. I think people forget that with Enchi. We always hear about the striping or the pattern change, but the oranges that Enchi bring are fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that oranges translates really well into hypo, especially into that look where it has like that real depth of color. Yeah. So this season, I will not be able to make it. This season, the puzzle stuff, I would like to see Blackhead Hypo puzzle this year. Blackhead Phantom Orange Dream puzzle. That would be hypo. I am getting some of my Sapphire stuff into more hypo and hypo puzzle this year. This last season, I made some Sapphires that were het puzzle, plus het hypo. And then this year, I'm trying to make super Blackhead Sapphire hypo. That would be het puzzle, because the Sapphire, I don't know if you've seen a lot of it, is not worked the way it should be worked. It looks so cool. Here, let me show you one.
All right, making a special exception, showing a snake here.
So this is I would show you the single gene Sapphire, but I just shipped it out today. This is a fire Sapphire hypo that is het clown.
Yep.
So tough to tell, obviously, with hypo combos, but like he glows.
No, I think you could see it glow. Actually, I'm a fan. I have a lot of hypo. I to this day I don't understand why hypo gets the short end of like the recessive stick. Like it's incredible to me.
It's my favorite like color recessive to work with, but I would like to see that with puzzle, so I'm going to make some more of that this year. But then the next season, the goal would be to kind of bring that idea together with the orange radiant type of hue with a black and Enchi working together to make that. I've got an Enchi Hypo puzzle that I'll be putting to a Hypo blackhead het puzzle female to try to hit that combo. And then ideally, another however long down the road, get a dose of Orange Dream in there to step up that orange a little bit.
I've been really liking what I see of Orange Dream in puzzle with some of what you're talking about with the orange depth, but it's like the puzzle patterns get the black and that black contrast from Orange Dream. So I'm biased because I have that. I'm working, or I have it in a het form. So anyhow, hopefully we'll see some results from that. Other than Hypo, what things would you like to see puzzle in? I know we've seen it in Ultramel. I've certainly seen it in DG and Hypo. What areas do you think it could go into, or that we haven't seen it yet, or that will be intriguing to see it go to?
One that we haven't seen yet that I don't plan on working, but I think will look really good is the Rainbow Hypo the Rainbow puzzle. Mm-hmm. I really like the rainbow stuff, especially as an adult.
Yeah. Does Brandon have that crossover going yet, or not yet?
I can't remember if he's got that going this year. He does have the male, which is a Super Hurricane Rainbow Hypo. Yeah. And he's breeding well for him right now. I don't know if he's got him going to any puzzle stuff this year, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. What do you, and part of it's because we hear what we go seek out and look for. Seems like I'm hearing rainbow a lot more. Like I invested in some rainbow this year myself. What do you think is on the future for rainbow, and why did you think rainbow specifically versus some of the other albino lines for puzzle?
I just think the vibrancy of the color contrast with rainbow as opposed to like a lavender or something in that, like candy or whatever, works really well when you've got genes that have like dark color contrast with them to begin with. Rainbow is like, people call it like a fancy banana or whatever, but the adults that I've seen, when you compare to other like genes in that complex, they seem much more vibrant. The color seems like it comes through so much sharper. And if you're going to be doing a project where you're going to tweak that pattern a whole bunch, I would rather have a gene that is going to hold a lot of contrast as opposed to one that might just be muddied out and just be like a tan, yellow, orange color whenever everything gets compressed.
Yeah, you don't want the smeared Enchi pied look in an albino. You need more contrast. Yeah. You need the stark patterns and the stark contrast on the starts and ends of the colors, I think.
Yeah, and then Xanthic has a huge comeback.
That's true. That's pretty neat. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. And puzzle would be a great candidate for that, because Xanthic's all about contrast, just like we were talking about. Like that would be, yeah.
The rise of Xanthic, I mean, not the rise of Xanthic, but the comeback of Xanthic has been, I think, in part due to DG and due to Hypo. Yeah. Because Xanthics forever as babies, like that's what we want Xanthics to look like. And then when they're adults.
Yeah, you need that. It's funny, like Xanthic is the gene that can bring back pastel and fire. Like one of the best single recessives I ever saw was a Firefly Xanthic, man. It's fantastic. Yeah.
But with DG, you're going to get that stark black and white. That's going to be insane for these like heavy pattern combos. Mm-hmm. Like you've seen like the acid clown stuff. Like I just put acid in the DG Xanthic clown. That's going to look crazy.
Right.
I'm going the true ghost route with the Hypo Xanthic. Mm-hmm. So this last season, I've got 3 female triple hets that are true ghost puzzle, and then a 4th that I need to test out. They were all double het Xanthic puzzle and 50% Hypo, and I went 3 for 3 on my females testing out, thanks to Charlie. I think he sprinkled a little magic on those.
Dude, it's so funny. Like I don't gamble. Like, I don't place wagers in sport. Like when you say gambling, I don't do that. I don't, I'm not going to poker halls and stuff, but I do study wagering a lot, and I study odds making a lot, because it is so similar to almost to life and business, but it's so funny how the odds work. There was I cursed Charlie one time. I was like, Charlie, and obviously it's not Charlie's fault. I was like, none of these are proven out. And he's like, Adam, you can't say in one video how you crush the odds on the double visuals and then be mad that none of your hets are there. He goes, it all averaged. You just got it all in one place. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine.
Right.
It's anyway. Sorry, it's fun how that comes around. So, what's next for you on puzzle? I know that you said you'd like to see some of these. What's realistic for yourself?
This season, I don't have a count, but if I were to guess, I've probably got 12 pairings that will be with puzzle stuff. So I'm doing some more double het exanthic puzzle pus het hypos. I'll test those out. I'll likely keep one more female, and then I'll make a couple of those available. Like I said, the blackhead hypo puzzle is probably my main goal for this season, but then also orange dream, blackhead, phantom puzzle would be another one. It'll be phantom or Mojave. It's a potion female. That's a het puzzle. And then making some more cool hets. Getting Sapphire in there is a big one for me. I am going to do some hypo super blackheads. That'll be pus het puzzle, because if I just get one, that's a female that's going to stay here for a long time. Right. And the ones that I test out and that are not het hypo super blackheads look amazing. I'll be able to sell those no problem.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't a blackhead, but it wasn't even Barnard. It's just black pastel. One of the best animals that turned the most heads this year at shows was just a hypo black pastel. And I remember, like, all of our geeky friends were being like, Adam, you have that way overpriced. I'm like, I don't care. And it sold like immediately just because of how good it looks and the way that it turned head. I mean, some pet owner in Fargo owns it now. Literally, I sold it at the Fargo show. Didn't blink an eye, didn't bat an eye at the price. And the sister of it sold immediately too. Like, that's, yeah, go get hypo with dark jeans, guys.
Yeah, that's a good topic too. I think is at least the last 6 months or so, I feel like the focus is back on snakes that look good.
I think we've done it all, right? I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day. Like, we've done it all. We've gone through the cycle though. We've gone from, like, all right, there was pet ball pythons. Then there was like a albino pied. Whoa, that'll blow your mind. Oh, throw banana in there. And then all the little jeans came, and we decided to stack all those together, and we got the dirty socks. So we couldn't do that anymore. So then we started stacking recessives. Well, we did that till we got bored. And now it's like, what if we just make something that looks badass? Like, just undeniably, wow, that's amazing. And screw what we call it. Just do that. And I mean, of course, we need to know what to call it. But yeah, I think that's the core value. That has to be a core value, I think.
And there's a return back right now too to, like, work your codoms like the last couple of years. And it's like, I do the same thing. I'm not preaching to anybody. I've got a bunch of normals in here that are het for whatever. But, like, what does a super hurricane, super OD look like? That's a double recessive. It works the same way as a double recessive. What's a white lace, super blackhead, super OD? That's a triple recessive. Wait, we don't know what that looks like. What's a super OD white lace look like? We haven't seen all this stuff put together because we've got one copy of a codom with 3 triple hets on it, where it's like, down the road, that's going to make a really cool animal. Yeah. But and I tell people this at shows too, where it's like, when they ask, like, because I have a lot of hypo and I have a lot of DG, and it's, I could bring the snakes here and set up and sell them, and the snakes look pretty and all that. Even a normal looks pretty, but I'm working with the adults every day. I want stuff that's going to look really good as an adult. And if I'm making stuff like for myself that I know is going to look good, that's going to translate to my customers as well, where I'm not just putting out a bunch of stuff that looks like nothing that might be $2,000 because of the genes that it hides. But that's the market for that is specified. Like, it's going to be somebody like me who's going to be buying it. The masses are not going to be coming and looking at something normal for $2,000. They're going to look at that blackhead calico hypo that's $350, $400, $500 and be blown away by that.
Blown away. Exactly. That's the exact thing that happened with that black pastel hypo. It's just fantastic. And you're exactly right. And I think too, that the thing that we all hear some version of it all the time. Work what you love. If you're only doing it for the money, you're not going to get through it. But making beautiful snakes that are beautiful to you, or me making beautiful snakes that are beautiful to me, are going to motivate us every day. We get excited to open the tubs versus, so like, instead of being bookkeepers managing spreadsheets or data mining on, Husbandry Pro or whatever, it's exciting to go down there and look at these things. And just like, I get so sidetracked sometimes. So I'm like, well, that'll be Instagram content today, 'cause I got to stop and take a picture of that, but that's the stuff that gets you through it, I think. So,
yeah, I mean, we treat this as a business, and it is, but the root of the business is a interest in snakes in general. And I feel like once a season, twice a season, I'll hatch a snake where it's like, that might be a $300 snake, but that is staying because I love it.
Right. And that's the base. Like, where do you take it from there? Like, that's the motivation. That's the sitting there at night and you can't sleep. I could do this to it. I could do that. Yeah. I love it, man. I promised everybody that we try and keep it at 90 minutes here. And I have a rule that if we need more than that, you got to come back. So you got to come back in sooner than 2 years. Yeah. And I got to get better about getting people back. I'm kind of like you. Was that 6 months ago or was it 2 years ago? But Matt, it's a real pleasure. Thank you for the productive conversation. And to start with, and then just the fun camaraderie to get through the show. I look forward. I'll see you in Tinley. Yeah. Where else can people see you this year?
Yeah. So we're going to be in Tinley. I'll be set up with Ken, Primal Scales in Tinley. After that in April, I will be at the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll be down there with Corey DeLong and Brandon Nixon. That is April 10th and 11th, I want to say. And then after that, I'll be back with Ken in Indianapolis on April 27th, 28th that weekend, doing the ARS Midwest Reptile Expo. After that, I'm going to be taking that little bit of a break because then May comes and we know what happens in May.
That's right.
I'm going to be
weird,
off.
Man.
Yeah. I'm going to be off until the next Southeast Reptile Expo, which is going to be August 8th and 9th. And that will be the first show back. And then the same shows in the spring I'll be doing in the fall. So we'll be back at Tinley. We'll be back at Charlotte again in the fall. And I don't know if Troy and Nick will be able to do, I don't think they have a date yet from the venue for the Nashville show. But I will be doing the Nashville show in the future. In the fall or
I've only heard the one in May.
They've got the one in May, and then they have 2 dates of a spring and a fall in 2026. They're still trying to see if they can get a date from that venue in the fall of this year.
Gotcha.
It just seems like the venue isn't sure if they're going to be able to get them dates yet. Yeah. So if they do end up having one, I'll be there. And then that'll be another one where we'll team up with Brandon and Corey again. We'll set up and do a big island, but I'll be doing that one. That's only 5 hours away for me. So that's easy. And nice. I don't know if did you ever make it to the Nashville show when it was the all pet expo or whatever it was?
No, I'll be at the one in May. I'll be there with Redline in May.
Nice.
But no, you'd have to twist my arm. And actually, that's the first maybe ever show. I don't think my wife has ever been to a show with me. She's like, "Oh, maybe I might want to go to the Nashville show." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet you do."
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
She might make an appearance. Yeah, exactly. Maybe a quick pop in for the weekend. We'll see.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. How was it though? How's the city and the crowd and all that?
It was great. I don't remember what the actual place was called, but I thought it was just like the Nashville Fairgrounds or something like that. And it's a really nice building. The venue is huge. There was like two main rooms, but they were giant. The cool part about it was a all pet expo, and it's in Tennessee. So there'd be like albino raccoons and foxes and goats and like monkeys. So
Right.
that part was fun. But the reptile scene in Tennessee is huge.
It is. There's a lot of people there. Yeah. Just a lot of friends that are there. So I can only imagine the people that I don't know as well, you know?
Yeah. And that's a good central point for a show too. That's like you go, 10 hours in any direction, you're going to cover a lot of space being kind of central like that.
Right.
So I was really, really glad to see that those two got a show down there in Nashville to cover that one, because that show that was there stopped running. I think it sounded like, I might be wrong, but it sounded like it just wasn't a profitable thing for them enough to be able to keep doing it. But it was $2 admission and like $50 tables, $40 tables. It's like, there's only so much you're going to be able to do with that. And I understand you enjoy putting a show on, but you're also running a business here as a show promoter. You have to be able to maintain it.
And those venues are, I hate using double negatives. Those venues are not inexpensive though. That is a big burden to secure a venue of any size caliber. Big venues are expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, Matt, I look forward to seeing you in Tinley and seeing you down the road. Again, massive blessings to you and your family. I can't wait. This is super cool for you. Good luck on the venture of, being a dad, doing it from home with the animals full time, all those fun words. You get to live it all up, man. So
yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the kind words, and I thank you for having me on. It's always good talking to you, especially when we can get on one of these. But let's not wait 2 years for the next one. We'll do 1 year minimum, and then we'll recap.
Maximum, not minimum. Maximum. There we go. I got you though. Hey, I definitely want to know. I'll see you at Tinley. We'll have a good time. Audience, thank you very much. We'll do the same thing, same time next week. Thanks for being here, Matt. Take care. See you soon, man.
See you guys.
All right.